Now, the reason we're here in particular is your new book. And what a great way to start your book tour than in the country that banned you. It's sort of like planting the flag and retaking the turf. And you've got a lot of people coming out to see you. Tell us about the event. Tell us a little bit about your book, first of all, but also tell us about the event. You've chosen a church with a large Maori congregation as the venue for the Auckland event. Give me a minute on the book and then a minute on why you chose the Maori church.
Well, Ezra, as you know, people have said a lot of things about me over the years that I've worked with you. You've known the truth, but I've never been, a lot of it I wasn't even able to talk about publicly myself. So this was my first opportunity to tell those, whether you're a hater, whether you're a lover, whatever you are, if you care enough to listen to what they say about me, here's the opportunity for you to hear about me from me, my story.
And I love the title Rebel from the start. It's true. You really were.
It definitely is. And the reason why we chose that venue, because I know you said that New Zealand is nothing like the real North Korea, which is true. But you know what? I have more respect for the North Korean government than I do for the government here. Why? Because North Korea, at least they're honest about what they're doing. Here they pretend to be for freedom and democracy, yet they're banning people for the propensity to incite people with opposing views. And I chose that particular church because we know the minute that it's announced, and we held those cards close to our chest. Not on this particular church, we weren't worried that they were going to pull out because they're not scared.
They're cancel proof.
They're cancel proof. They're
rebels.
They're rebels. They through the lockdowns. These were some of the people that were at the forefront of that fight, and they've copped every smear in the book. So there was no way to scare them into cancelling it for that. And they're also big, tough men, so there's no way to scare them out of protest or intimidate them. So I chose that location here in Auckland, and I'm really glad we did because I think, you know what? Rebels stick by rebels because that's the only way you win these fights, is, you know, together against the big global. That's what it is. Remember, Jacinda Ardern, like Justin Trudeau, is part of the young global leadership. That they're all WEF puppets.
Well, and they don't like you because they saw the journalism. You've gone to WEF twice now, World Economic Forum. Last time we were there together, that was a wonderful journalistic mission. Let me ask you one last question. It's a little speculative, and maybe you don't want to predict the future, but you know, there's a lot of New Zealanders who are really rooting for you because this country needs to hear the other side of the story. This country needs a debate, especially after the suffocation of Jacinda Ardern. But there are those in the establishment media, there are those in establishment politics, and there are even, I don't know about Antifa, but activists for sure, who would try and stop you. And if they couldn't stop you from coming into the country, and if they couldn't stop you from getting into this church with a large Maori congregation, are you worried that there's going to be, I mean, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to manifest it, but are you worried about some physical protests or, God forbid, even worse when you're here?
Look, you just look at what happened to Posey Parker, who's a little blonde woman who was standing for women's rights.
And yeah, she was a challenger to transgenderism, right?
Exactly. And she came in, she was holding an event where you let women speak about what their concerns are about issues today. And she was violently chased out of the country, And
if they would do that to a young woman, they would have no compunction doing that to you.
Yes, and so it is a concern. We have to be vigilant, and
you got a bodyguard with you, which is good.
We've brought a bodyguard with us the whole time because we're not going to take any chance. We're not going to let them intimidate us, chase us out of the country, because our mission here is to stay. We're not going to cower. We're not going to run. We're going to stay and fight for New Zealanders as we are for the rest of the world.
Well, Avi, I meant what I said earlier. You have probably made more difference pound for pound than anyone else in our company because you really were a lonely voice in the beginning in Australia. You met some other friends along the way. Roxanne Fernando, we're making friends here in New Zealand. Cam Slater, Chantel Baker. So there are little green shoots. So, you know, the lone blade of grass, maybe it'll become a lot of blades of grass. It shows that if you have the courage and if you know what you believe in and you're willing just to try, and if you fail, get back up and try again. I think you've made a lot of difference, and not just for Australians. Everywhere I go, people say, how's that Avi doing? What's up with Avi? Oh, I like that Avi guy. I think it's your character. And my favorite thing about you, frankly, and I need more of it myself, is a self-deprecating sense of humor. Because when you make fun of yourself, everyone laughs with you. And I think we're very lucky to have you on the team, Avi.
I appreciate it, Ezra. And look, I got to just say this. Jacinda Ardern may have banned me a year ago, but guess who's here and who's not?